Cambodian Tzu Chi volunteers hold aid distribution at Chi Public School, which was rebuilt by Tzu Chi in 1996. Dalin Tzu Chi Hospital brings medical treatment to the rural areas for the past 20 years. Selamat datang ke DAI Headlines, saya Simon Gan. Terima kasih menyertai sesi berita kita. Welcome to DAI Headlines. Thank you for joining us. Cambodian Tzu Chi volunteers held distributions in Kampong Spo and Kendal provinces to help the poor to get through this difficult time. What's interesting is that one of the distributions was at Chi Public School, which was rebuilt by Tzu Chi in 1996. Let's take a look.
Volunteers are visiting these dilapidated huts built with metal sheets one by one and seeing the daily life of the poor. Now, due to the epidemic, their lives are even harder, that they can hardly afford infant formula for their children.
Now the child has to drink a lot of formula. It takes 4 cans in a month.
Blankets, edible food, infant formula, instant noodles, cloth masks, and 40 kilograms of rice are distributed twice a day. One distribution point is located at Chi Public School, which inspires many memories.
This is a school that the Tzu Chi Foundation helped build in 1996. The sign of the school is at the back. Because of this affinity, we're having our first distribution today. I hope that Chi Public School will be a base for Tzu Chi.
The residents here are really poor. That's why Tzu Chi came to host this distribution. I'm really grateful.
Tzu Chi not only provided material aid to the residents, but also aiding cleanliness. 2 broken wells were fixed and water is reflowing again.
Thanks to the volunteers for helping to repair the well. It was really inconvenient to have no water before.
It's much more convenient that a well can be used. We can wash clothes, take a bath, and wash dishes. I'm really happy.
The gratitude of being helped turned into the joy of helping others. The residents here show that they are not poor in spirit.
I just saw you all enthusiastically contribute to bamboo banks. We will also spread your love.
The relief aid has been given. More than 200 families in this accumulation of love will shower rays of life on other impoverished corners of the world.
In the United Kingdom, Tzu Chi volunteers provided masks and face shields for a utility company. The company has a history of assisting the disadvantaged and quickly found its match with Tzu Chi's ideals. Here's more.
Crossing the Mersey Gateway and arrived at Liverpool, it was the first time for Tzu Chi volunteers based in the United Kingdom to visit the shore maintenance. The chairman and his respective supervisors and employees especially came out to greet the team, since Tzu Chi volunteers have brought with face shields and fabric masks that they mostly needed.
What they are doing has high risk. I asked them about what would they do if they encounter a sick customer while they work. They told me that the job must be done if it's required.
Engineers will gladly wear the protection of the face masks and the goggles whilst they're working to maintain safe distance during this pandemic.
Through this gathering, volunteers introduced Tzu Chi and its innovative products, such as the blanket made by recycled bottles, making people very amazed.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and we didn't put any colors, so that's the original what colors of the water.
This company also collaborates with the government and charities in order to help the disadvantaged people install electrical and plumbing systems. The actions of goodness matches with Tzu Chi's ideals. Employees also recognize the concept of bamboo coin bank.
And you were talking very much about how that can be $15 in the long run, but rather than just putting $15, you were going step by step every day.
Besides giving supplies, a good affinity is formed along the ways of doing good deeds.
In Chile, emergency soup kitchens initiated by local residents are called community pots. The food comes from neighbors or fundraising at local church gatherings. However, during the epidemic, many suffer from a lack of food as Tzu Chi volunteers donated food to help during this difficult time.
There's a long queue for just one meal. Many wonder where the food comes from at this location providing hot food in the community.
Most of the ingredients are donated by neighbors, or we push carts and look for food resources. If there isn't much food collected, there will be less food served this week.
Food is distributed 3 times a day to help disadvantaged residents. The initiator of this program is an old lady in a wheelchair.
At first, I saw that many people had no food to eat. Then we went out to collect food and pass it to Miss Mariam to cook and distribute to those in need.
To support her acts of kindness, Tzu Chi volunteers provide food assistance.
We are going to donate supplies. There are only 2 volunteers here today. Although there are just 2, we still think we can successfully complete our procurement work.
Their on-site purchases and handmade delicacies donate to this food distribution point. Yang Yahui mobilized factory employees to donate the triangular pies they made themselves.
The severity of the epidemic in Chile has let us learn that there are many people who have nothing to eat. If I can donate to help others, this is a very good thing. So I donated these 10 boxes. In the future, if I have an opportunity and if there is a need, I will continue to donate.
Relieving their worries about food supply, this car full of food is the best support for this community kitchen.
He is a small community pot on the street. He can also show the spirit of great love. So today we send a lot of supplies so that they can sustain the lives of these people.
During the epidemic, all walks of life are working together to help local residents survive during this difficult time.
There is a rumor on the internet that coffee and soy sauce should be avoided during pregnancy or the baby's skin will turn dark. Is this really true? Follow a report as we learn more.
There's a saying that pregnant women are eating for 2. It's also said that the baby's skin color can be determined by the pregnant mother's diet.
For example, soy milk, fresh milk, fruits and vegetables, including pumpkins. It is hoped that the baby's skin will be better.
Elders say one should avoid darker colored food such as soy sauce or darker food.
Does the color of food really affect the baby's skin tone? Listen to what the experts say.
Eating soy sauce will eventually turn to amino acid, not melanin. It does pass on the baby's body, but it doesn't actually affect your baby's skin color. The main factor affecting skin tone is genetics. If mothers have white skin, it is easier for a baby to have white skin.
Eating soy sauce and drinking coffee will not lead one to give birth to dark-skinned babies, but soy sauce does have high salt content. Coffee and Coca-Cola contains caffeine, and too much consumption will affect the mother and fetus.
Don't eat too much soy sauce. The main reason is the salt, as pregnant women will experience edema with excessive salt. This edema will cause high blood pressure in pregnant women. Too much caffeine may cause excessive excitability for the baby or inhibit nerve development.
The doctor emphasized that pregnant women should have a balanced diet, and vegetarian mothers should supplement their diet with vitamin B12. In the end, the health of the baby is much more important than the baby's skin color.
Looking back over the past 20 years, Dalin Tzu Chi Hospital has brought warmth to this small town with many touching stories. Follow a report as we see how the medical team assists the elderly with a positive attitude.
At 3:30 in the morning, volunteers began to appear near Dalin Tzu Chi Hospital in the dark. Walking slowly, Zhou Jingsan and his wife, who make herbal tea for the hospital every day, never stopped for 20 years.
Everyone is happy after drinking the tea. I wish Dalin Tzu Chi Hospital a good health.
At that time, his wife went to surgery and was hospitalized, so she couldn't come. So I came to help him and stayed ever since.
Zhou Jingsan's wife was hospitalized for surgery a few years ago, and his friend Xie Jingtan took the initiative to join in. Since then, he has been a very good helper. These 3 bodhisattvas have a combined age of almost 250 years old, are making herbal tea day after day. They spent their own money and effort and did this work in silence and delivered heavy containers of tea to the location at 5:30 every day. Dalin Tzu Chi Hospital's tea has been part of the hospital's journey from the beginning. In addition, those wearing volunteer vests have accompanied patients for 20 years too. Almost all of them started when they were 40 or 50 and now are 60 to 70.
Earning good health. a clear mind to help and serve others, is a rare affinity we can gain in this life.
This hospital is like a home where accompany cancer patients can also realize how we'll face life and death in the future. We also very clearly know the value of our life.
The hospital is like part of the Buddhist canon. One hospital volunteer, Lin Wenque, serves in the cancer center. More than 10 years ago, she fell into grief and helplessness when her husband died because of terminal esophageal cancer. This volunteer work cheered her up.
Because I'm also the kind of person who doesn't cry in front of others. So if I was very sad at that time, I would come here to find Sister Ying Ying and she will accompany me. I thought it was fortunate to have volunteers accompany me along the way. Actually, I said this was already my second home.
Actually, I don't think I accompanied her or did a lot for her. On the contrary, she gave us more. She was first someone we cared for in the cancer ward and then later became a volunteer.
On weekdays, Tzu Chi volunteers serve patients in the hospital. On holidays, the medical staff also follow in the footsteps of the Tzu Chi volunteers and go to rural areas to clean care recipient households. The division of labor and cooperation are full of mutual respect and understanding.
Our usual job is to face patients in the hospital. We don't know what the patient's living environment is like when we sit in the clinic, so we participate as much as possible to experience what it's like for patients with disabilities at home.
There are also monthly visits by TEMA. Up to hundreds of doctors, nurses, and pharmacists from Dalin Tzu Chi Hospital participate in these charitable works, as well as their duty in medical treatment, working with joy and compassion.
Tzu Chi's humanistic medical care is truly a combination of charity and medical care, so that it can achieve holistic medical treatment. It is not just that the treatment of the disease, but also the treatment of the person. It is really the treatment of the patients as a whole, rather than just focusing on medical treatment.
Hospital volunteers are advancing towards community care, and 20 years of warm companionship have been consistently helping patients along the way.
Many people give up medical treatment when hearing they are diagnosed with lung cancer. However, Dalin Tzu Chi Hospital has already treated 2,000 such patients, and the medical team, on behalf of a patient, wrote a letter to the United States in order to save a life.
Thanks to the Deputy Superintendent of the hospital, Mr. Lai, the most crucial time in my life, he didn't give up on me.
On stage, these words of thanks were expressed, including how he found his way back to a normal life. 2 years ago, patient Guan Mingwen was diagnosed with lung cancer, having a 3.1 centimeter tumor in his lung. He gave up treatment until he felt enormous pain while standing up, led him to the Dalin Tzu Chi Hospital for treatment.
The Deputy Superintendent told me, why did I wait to come here when my sickness was already very serious? The tumor is 9.5 centimeters. When I visited the hospital, I was paralyzed, but now I'm able to walk.
Ji Wendu also suffers from lung cancer. Back then, when he heard he had lung cancer, he had lost all hope in life.
Mr. Lai, the deputy superintendent, left a message for me, telling me not to give up treatment. I thought that he was very sincere since he had to care for patients until this late at night.
Since targeted therapy requires a certain kind of medicine, Dr. Lai Junliang wrote and applied to the United States for medicine and was greeted with a reply.
20 years ago, we discovered that 2/3 of the patients with lung cancer don't want treatment. According to the National Health Insurance Bureau's survival rate, we have the same medical treatment level as other hospitals.
For 20 years, Dalin Tzu Chi Hospital had tried their best to improve their SOP when treating lung cancer patients. The process of initial treatment was shortened from 2 weeks to 7 days. This was to encourage patients to receive proper treatment and heal properly.
Affected by the epidemic, the Tzu Chi recycling station in Malaysia has been closed for nearly half a year. As the epidemic starts to slow down, Tzu Chi reopened the recycling station in Johor Bahru so people can do recycling again.
After closing for nearly half a year, the Johor Bahru branch in Malaysia resumed its monthly recycling activity. People send recyclables which have been piled for several months to the recycling station.
There is no recycling in these 3 or 4 months. Everyone keeps the recyclables at home, so piling up many. Sometimes we would go to a store to collect their recyclables, which took more than 1 truck to bring back.
After a few months, volunteers went back to the recycling station and are still skillful at the task of recycling.
I'm very pleased to start doing it again. Otherwise, it's boring to stay at home. I feel happy when doing recycling here. I feel good. Also, we can help clean up the environment and protect the earth.
The elderly Tzu Chi volunteers dare not take it lightly when facing the epidemic.
The government doesn't prohibit the people who are over 60s from coming out. It's not encouraged for them to go out. If you think you are healthy enough, you can still come here to volunteer if you want.
We have to strengthen our protection and do our part well. We must strictly follow the epidemic prevention measures. At least we must wear masks, wash our hands, and take body temperature.
Different from collecting garbage as a whole, this wave of epidemic has opened up another new situation in environmental protection.
During this epidemic, it is actually a good opportunity for us to promote sorting of recyclables. People are encouraged to get off their cars to do sorting by themselves.
Like before, the recyclables were very messy and not sorted properly. Sometimes people even send the whole garbage here without sorting. But the situation seems to have improved now.
Although the epidemic has disrupted the pace of life, it also brought learning opportunities for people to sort recyclables and practice it in daily life.
Next, we visit Qianjia Recycling Station located in Hsinchu. This recycling station is really something else as it is located underneath a bridge. And since it's considered public property, permanent dwellings are not buildable upon the land. Thus, volunteers had to come up with an inventive way to have interior spacing. Let's get to know this special recycling station.
这条是通德北的经国桥，咱即马就桥，套中咱即马落桥，洗倒转来，洗倒转来，搁就桥，搁落桥，搁洗倒转来，搁洗倒转来。像恁，咱即马到车架环保站咯。
Volunteers made a video to introduce Qianjia Recycling Station located in Hsinchu, Taiwan. It is situated underneath the Jingguo Bridge and covers about 1,322 square meters of land. Each day, about 30 to 40 volunteers are here sorting recyclables.
I've been at this recycling station for 7 years now, and from here I've come to realize the Dharma joy of giving selflessly. In the future, I will continue to give selflessly and also take very good care of this machine.
The machine to be taken care of is this PET bottle crusher, which is really the station's most valuable resource. This land which the recycling station sits upon is considered public property, which means no permanent dwelling can be placed upon it. Thus, shipping containers were turned into interior spaces which the volunteers could use, like a kitchen.
This kitchen was built by Brother Tsai, who makes the disaster relief mobile kitchens. We hope to take care of our recycling volunteers by providing them with snacks and food to fill their stomachs. So we wanted to have a kitchen put in.
Sorting recyclables brings the community closer together. Liao Youan is one of the community members who became a certified Tzu Chi volunteer from doing recycling here, while senior Zhong Xiumei has been doing this for 17 years here.
I injured my neck and spine at work and had to have surgery. It was then that I experienced the love and care of Tzu Chi volunteers. They introduced me to the recycling mission. Through that, I worked my way through volunteer training and became a Tzu Chi volunteer. I was blessed to have received a certification from the master.
In the past 17 years, I've really had some good times during recycling. This line of volunteering brings joy to my life and is a healthy way of exercising.
It's been 30 years since the Tzu Chi mission to protect the earth by recycling began, and this love for the planet continues to expand in the local community.
For those who suffer from learning disabilities, instead of only going to institutions for learning, they can now also visit community home care points to receive care, such as the one managed by Guo Suxia in Pingdong. Guo takes her students to the Tzu Chi recycling station each week to help organize the second-hand clothes and items. Under the care of the recycling volunteers, the students have shown vast improvement in their social and life skills.
Those with learning disabilities visit a home care center each day as if going to school. On this day, everyone piles into the car for a field trip. Arriving at the Pingdong recycling station, the 3 students know to help out moving the recyclables into the station. When one trips and falls, another quickly helps them up. This is something the recycling station has taught them.
They learn to help one another here. And also, since Chi Chi brothers and sisters are here interacting with them, their social skills have also increased.
Home care worker Guo Zhuxia is also a Tzu Chi volunteer herself. She has, for the past 2 years, taken the students to the recycling station to help organize the clothes 1 day a week.
When they saw us in the beginning, we were strangers to them, so I thought what ways can help us become friends. I then started singing Little Apple. How does the song go?
有没有很想要来这里？
想。
为什么？
喜欢。
The seemingly easy task of folding clothes or moving items are actually life skill training for these students.
She used to not hand dry clothes so well, but now she knows to make sure the clothes are neat and straight.
This home care worker helps learning disadvantaged students expand their circle and contribute to society.
Since 2013, National Geographic hosts a road running event every year during Earth Day. This year, due to the epidemic, the event was delayed to August. 20,000 people participated. Tzu Chi volunteers were invited to cooperate. Volunteers provided water supplies, set up interactive games, promoting eco-friendliness to event attendees.
3, 2, 1, we have a go!
5 in the morning, at the Presidential Square, 20,000 participants set off.
Normally, this road is occupied with cars, but now us participants could run on it. Together we move forward. It feels great.
Initiated by National Geographic, and eco-friendliness as a theme, the water supply area at the Road Run event required attendees to self-prepare eco-friendly bottles. Even if the participants forget their bottles, the Qingpiao team serving at the event provides a bottle for rent service.
Qingpiao started this year to bring our bottles to the 4 kilometers run. We have to test the bottle with this short run. For the long run, there are other bottles.
This is the first time that I realized that cups are reusable, not just a one-time use. The previous 2 runs that I was in produced a lot of one-time use plastic cups, so I think this event is pretty good.
On behalf of Loving Our Earth, Tzu Chi volunteers set up mini eco-friendly games at the rest areas to educate runners proper ideals.
Today marks the 50th anniversary of the Earth Day. It is also the 30th anniversary for Tzu Chi's promotion for eco-friendliness. The event invited Tzu Chi to become an eco-friendly partner, along with other organizations. Everyone here promoted no plastics and the reduction of one-time use items.
A plastic-less road running event not only strengthens one's physiques, it also helps with building a healthier Earth.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Brazil held aid distribution for the local families in need while carrying out all the prevention measures. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.